Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Black Male Podcast. I am your host, AP. Today's show is going to be on give and take. Now, somebody out there might wonder why I would decide to talk about give and take. Okay, so the basic concept about today's show is sometimes we are enamored or in a certain situation, and we are either a giver or a taker, and sometimes we are both. Okay, sometimes we can play both sides of that description, but sometimes when we are in those situations, we may either be the giver or the taker, and then sometimes we want to see where that puts us and how that makes us feel. So we're going to start with that. I want to first start off by thanking you for watching the show. If you're watching live stream or you're actually watching it the recorded version, I appreciate you. I do want to say that you can always come back here and watch any of the previous shows. We can go from there. But today's show is going to be on give and take. Okay. So I'm just going to borrow some of your time today. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. All comments are welcome. Okay. I do not mind any type of comment. Okay. I have thick, tough skin. Okay. So anything that you don't agree with, anything that you don't like, anything that's out of the ordinary, that's fine. Okay. We just want to keep it respectful. Okay. We want to keep the respect between everyone. We don't want anyone to feel like they are disrespected or anything like that. Okay. Today's show is also going to be is going to have the ability for you to jump in. If you're watching it live, you can jump into the live chats. And in that live chat, I'm going to respond to some of the questions or some of the comments that are there. Okay. So if this is your first time watching the show live, or if this is the first time you're actually watching the show, what I do like to do is with a topic, I do like to open the floor up with a definition, okay? Because I believe if we have an understanding and a knowing of where we are, with the concepts and the terms that we're using, then we can go from there, okay? So first, give and take, okay? Now, here's a definition. Give and take means a mutual exchange where both parties contribute something and receive something in return, essentially signifying a compromise or the willingness to accept some of the other person's ideas while giving up some of your own. Whereas give simply means to provide something to someone, and take means to receive something from someone. Okay. The gist of all of that means that there's two sides of the coin. And with there being two sides of the coin, that sometimes we're going to take or play those sides. Okay. What's very important for us to understand is where someone is when we are giving and taking in that situation. Okay. So some of us can give and take in certain ships that we have, right? A friendship, partnership, relationship, marriage, any type of ship that you're in, any type of interaction you have with someone. The main concept is something within that type of relationship that you have with them is going to determine if and when something may arise, right? Because anytime things arise or there's disagreement, and disagreements are healthy to have, right? Disagreements allow you to learn, grow, and build, right? So with knowing and understanding those things, it's very important for us to know sometimes we're going to be the giver, sometimes we're going to be the taker, but you never want to take more than you're giving, right? There's an idea that's out there that marriage is 50-50. Okay. No marriage is ever 50-50. Okay. No relationship is ever 50-50. Ever. No partnership is ever 50-50. Okay. Now, when you think about those things on paper, it says that, right? On paper, it says you're going to split everything down the middle. But when you really get down to the bare bones of everything, is anything ever really 50-50? No. Is anything every mutually divided? No, because there's going to be something that someone comes in with more or gives more than the other. And when there's a separation of that, they are going to want what they put into it. Okay, here's a great example. Okay, you were in a partnership with someone, you decide to start a business with someone, you guys sit down and you're hammering out all the details of that business. One thing you're going to say is we're not only going to bring in the finances, we're going to bring in people, we're going to bring the product, we're going to do everything we can to push this thing forward and push it through. The main part of that and the main process about that is that anytime you have something like that, you want to make sure everything is as it's supposed to be, because if there's anything that happens outside of that, then there's going to be a disruption of service, right? Because you're a partner, you have a partnership. Now, let's say there's a mutual disagreement or a mutual parting of ways. Now, when it's time to split up, what you want to do is you're going to go away with the things that you said you came in with. Now, sometimes people can be real nasty when that happens, right? Because the separation is very hard for some people. We'll dig into that a little bit later. But sometimes when you are separating from someone and you in the terms of having a partnership with someone, if you have a business partnership with them, the reason why they have those contracts is because what I came in with, or everything that I come in with, or the people that I brought in to build this brand or build what we have, I'm going to take it with me because I don't want to leave without what I came in with, right? So me giving into this, that means sometimes I'm going to put more in than the person that I'm with. Sometimes they're going to put more in than what I do because it's going to be a give and take. You can't always give at the same amount or the same level with the same equity in anything. Okay, that's virtually impossible. We will want to think that people can do that, but that's very hard for some people to do because some people may not be at that level or that path to do that. Some people may not have the capacity or capability of doing that. That would be a very hard thing. So when those separations in the businesses they fold and things happen, it gets real nasty when it's time to break away. Now, when it's time to break away, then there's a decision of who takes what, how, why you're going to take it, and how it's going to look when you take it. And it can be real nasty. Okay. Let's move forward to a relationship. Relationships can be a beast of its own. Okay. Relationships, everyone has been through them, no matter what type of relationship it is, no matter if it's a friendship, no matter if it's friends with benefits, no matter what it is. If something doesn't have a basic foundation or basic understanding, there's going to be an issue. Okay. There's no way that we can have anything or try to build anything and it just stays where it is. Okay. Everything's either going to grow or it's going to stagnate or it's going to fall off. That's just how it works. Okay. But the main concept about being in a relationship with someone in terms of giving and taking is because I might not have it right now, but you might. And when you have it, you're going to give in, right? You're going to give in, you're going to buy in, you're going to pour into everything that you do, everything that we have. I may be down right now, and you may be my saving grace. And when I say my saving grace, you might be the answer to all the issues that are going on with me. Part of that is that when we are on the receiving end of that from somebody who's given that, some of us do not internalize that as that being a way for me to help myself. Because sometimes people will assume that that's just something that they're supposed to do. And plenty of people have been in that situation where someone just assumes that that's what you're supposed to do based on your position or your role within that relationship, right? So let's think about it this way. A male and a woman, you think about the gender roles and you think about other things that go along with that. With those gender roles and the things that go along with that, you're going to think about everything that ties into that, right? Because we're all going to come in with our preconceived notions of how we want things to be based on the experiences we've already had, based on the relationship we probably just got of. We might be coasting out of one relationship, sailing into another. There's a bunch of things that can happen with that. But if I am not open and honest about how much I can give or how much I'm willing to take at that time, I can be set that other person up for failure. And then in their mind, they're thinking they're doing everything, and you guys are going to build something, you guys are going to have something, and it falls flat on its face. When it falls flat on its face, where is there to go? Where can you be? What is there to do? A hard thing about that is knowing and understanding that you guys are where you are at that time. And when you realize where you are at that time, it's going to be very hard, very difficult for you to rebound, depending on what happens. Sometimes we need to take that time back and that step back to know and understand that whatever I put into something, I'm expecting to get that same thing. Now, I might not get that with that person because I probably wasn't meant to be with that person. That person was probably a lesson for me to learn, right? This partnership may have been a partnership for me to learn. That's why a lot of partnerships, they don't succeed, because sometimes I need to go through this educational phase of being aligned with someone or something so it can further allow me to grow down the road. Okay. Think about this example. Just think about a time that you've been with someone, and think about the times, and you don't have to necessarily think about the worst relationship you have. You could think about one of the best relationships you've had, but think about everything that you put in, that you've done in that situation. How was it for you? What did it make you feel? What did it make you do? Were you open and honest about everything? Did you allow things to move and progress? Did you want to have certain things done? Did you look and see if there's something more that needs to be done? Did you see this relationship being somewhere, or this partnership being somewhere that you really thought it would be? And sometimes we can set ourselves up with thinking that that's the case. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's hard for us to really accept where someone else is. And when we start to give into that, or from the giving side, it's hard for us to accept when things don't turn out as we expect them to, right? A taker is going to be a taker, okay? A taker, a true taker, is a master manipulator. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But a giver in this aspect is going to be giving, pouring into doing things that they feel is sustaining what you have, the relationship, the partnership, no matter what it is, right? And when they put in and pour in to this situation, they expect the same thing as a result. They expect the same thing out. Has anybody known someone or been around someone that says, I'm about to go do this, I'm about to ball out, and when it's my turn, I expect the same thing? Maybe I'm not set up that way. Maybe my thing is to set up you, or give into you, or give unto you a different way, because that's part of the love language that I have. That's part of what I know and understand is how to give. That's also something that I know and understand that I didn't take much. So I don't feel like I need to give too much, because sometimes we need to know people's limitations when it comes to giving and taking. There are naturally some great givers out there in the world. There's also some master takers out there in the world. And no matter what the giver does, the takers will take. The hard part about that is knowing that a taker sometimes is a master manipulator with what they do, how they think, what they think they're entitled to have, the things that they know and believe that are true. Sometimes takers only want what they want because they believe they deserve to have that. That is an entitled mentality. I deserve to have all these things because I didn't get it from this person, so I'm going to take it from this person. Do we know some people out there that do that? Yes, a lot of us do. Do some of us understand and know that there's going to be people that are around us, whether it's our friend, our business partner, our co-worker, something like that? They think and they feel that they're entitled to get certain things from people. Yes, that's the case. But how does it make you feel when you're around them? You don't want to be around them. You feel jaded when it comes to them. When you hear their name, you don't get a good feeling inside about them. And it then changes the way you respond to them and you interact with them. And that's going to be important, right? Because a taker only wants what they want no matter what it is, because they see it their way and they only want it their way. And if they want it and they see it a different way outside of that, there's going to be an issue, right? A taker thinks ahead of time because they're watching, they're observing, they're learning, they're moving, and they see certain things that is happening. A taker wants what they want no matter what. A taker is going to be a taker. Now, if you're playing both sides, you're being true and honest to yourself, because sometimes I'm going to take a little bit more than I'm giving. That doesn't mean that I want to do this all the time. That just means at this point in time in my life, that's what's going to happen. But in the terms of a relationship, there's a lot of people that give and take, but there's more people that take more than give. And then sometimes those givers feel jaded and slighted because of what's been done. Part of that is because they have a good, natural giving spirit. Now, see, some people that have that good, natural giving spirit, they are in a spot or in a place where they feel like it's okay for me to do this. Not that I just have this, But I'm in a spot where I know I can do it and it doesn't matter. Why? Because this is something I want to do, right? This is something I don't feel like I need to do. I want to do this, right? And the reason why I want to do it is because it makes me feel good to give, right? Some people feel great about receiving and won't bat an eye, won't do anything else about receiving anything because that's who they are, right? But when a giver knows and understands their worth, and they know and understand their capabilities, they then in turn change the game. The reason why they do that is if you think about this episode of Fresh Prince, I know I'm going back a little bit, but I remember this episode on Fresh Prince, right? So Will is at Bel Air Academy, right? And this young lady who likes him, right? She comes from money and all this other stuff, right? And Will thinks and sees of her as somebody that's not on his caliber of liking. Okay. And how many of us have been around people that do that, or how many of us have been in that situation ourselves? But I'm going to get somewhere with this. So he sees this young lady and she's coming around, going to the house, going to school, showing up, surprising him with gifts and everything, and changing his whole persona and everything like that. He doesn't give in or pour into the same thing. I believe she asked for something very small. And then the first thing she did was she asked for everything back because no matter about her being a giver, she knew her worth. She wasn't going to allow him to continue to do that and make her feel a certain way because the things that she's giving, she's not only expecting a return from it, but she wants the same level of effort and energy back to her. And if that's not returned, then that's going to change. So sometimes the givers that are out there, they want that too. And when it's your turn to be a giver, you want that same thing from people. And if those people are not giving those things, how does it make you feel? What does it make you feel? Where does it put you? Sometimes givers go into a deep, dark shell. And I'm specifically talking about those givers that are given unto people and that they are given willfully, right? They given because they have a good natural spirit, right? They got a good natural heart. They're not giving expecting something in return. They're giving because that's something within them. Sometimes when they give, they get around or they're sought out by someone who is a master taker. And a master taker is going to take no matter what the limitations are because they don't care. And they will have that giver doing any and everything they could to give to them, right? Giving and taking is a major staple that we have in our lives. You can give unto yourself until you have no more. And sometimes people will continue and expect more from you. And if you don't have anything more from you, sometimes they'll turn you around and turn you away. And then you're just left with rubble, right? And then you have to pick yourself up. And then when you pick yourself up, who's there for you? Is that taker going to be there? No, because it's just like working a job and depositing money into a bank. And then at the end of your 2 week period, you're expecting a certain deposit, correct? But if I don't put any work in or put anything into this, I can't expect to go to the bank or use my debit card and expect something to be taken out from that account that I've put in. So that concept is very important for us to get to and understand. But when we give and take, it's not always equal. It's not always in the sense where I'm going to get the same amount that I get that I put in, and I'm also not going to receive some of the same things that I've put out. Some people take advantage of other people because of where they are. Okay. If you know someone that has lived a certain life and they want to maintain a certain status or a certain level of life, right? They need something to sustain the lie that they have of their life. And when I say the lie that they have of their life is they don't have the capacity or the ability to continue in the life that they have. So they will continue to do what they're doing. I had a coworker one time, and we were leaving work one time, right? And he flat out says, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I got this bad broad right here, and she makes six figures and all this other stuff." And I'm just nodding my head like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't know why you telling me your business. It don't matter to me. That's your business." So he's telling me this story, and he said, "Yeah, she makes six figures, and I'm just gonna lay back and I'm gonna let her do everything because I don't need to work. I don't need to do nothing." Say what? That's not going to work out well for you in the long run. You know why it's not going to work out well for you in the long run? Because if this young lady, and if that story is true, that says something else by itself. But if this young lady knows and understands her worth, she wouldn't necessarily do that. He may have been just, as they say, capping or saying some stuff that he shouldn't have been saying, or maybe he might be in a space where he felt that he was inclined to share that. I don't know why. Nobody's looking for that. Maybe because the car that he pulled up in, or the car that was pulling up to pick him up, which was her car, right? But it doesn't mean that that's there for him. That was there for him to build. Now, I haven't talked to this guy in probably almost like 5 years. This is an old story. But the idea and the concept and his mentality that he was just going to sit back and allow her to do everything because that's what she wanted, he was missing the point. She willfully gave to this man, right? Lady got pregnant because he had a kid with her, right? But it doesn't mean that she stuck with him. He's now stuck with that responsibility of that child. And a lot of people won't see it that way because they see it as something that's going to be, well, I got her, so I got a good. How many women feel the same way? I got him, so I'm good. So I'm going to allow him to do everything and be the man and the protector. Go get the breakfast, get the groceries, and all this other stuff. And it doesn't work like that because when you bring all that stuff home, it don't work. I can't go out there and conquer the world and come home and I'm warring with you over something that's very small. It doesn't work that way at all. It also doesn't work to the fact that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to have certain things a certain way and then assume that it's going to work out for me. Sometimes these relationships, they're a give and take in itself because sometimes you can get to the point where you've had enough, right? And you got to learn to let it go because sometimes people just don't know the limitations that other people will go to get the things that they need. And the people who are giving don't understand that sometimes people are only around you based on what you can provide to them and for them, right? Take a personal look at what you've done. Take a personal look at where you've been. All of us have been in a situation like that. There's no way that someone can say they haven't been in a situation like that unless they're with themselves, and nobody's going to be with themselves. We are built to be sociable people, okay? But you're supposed to interact with people. But there's no way on the face of this earth that you're going to look into that and say, I've never had that experience. That experience doesn't apply to me. There's going to be people that are going to come around you for a season. There's also going to be people that come around you to be a lesson. And with it being a season, sometimes we're giving into that because how they make us feel, right? I have a philosophy. If you're rushing me to do something, that's a red flag for me. And it took a while for me to get to that because not only am I naturally a giver, but I know what it looks like. And I know once everything is gone, where am I? Left by myself, right? And some of us have left by ourselves after the person has taken and taken and taken. And sometimes they feel like they can just sit around and continue to do that. Or those takers know they have a reliable thing, and I can always go back to this person because this person always come through for me. That's not okay. That's not okay. That also will put you in a spot where you don't want to interact or deal with that person on any type of level. What it will also do is have you respond to them in a way that you naturalistically didn't want to interact with them or respond to them. That's horrible. When people know and understand their value and their worth, the givers give differently. Sometimes those manipulators and those takers, they look at life as their apple, right? They want to grab the apple. They want to take the big bite of the apple because everything belongs to me. But if you look deep down in that, there's something that's fundamentally wrong with them and that thinking. That taker might have been in a situation where they've never received anything. They have probably been in a very toxic relationship because they themselves are probably toxic themselves. They're probably living out the toxic remnants of anything that they've been around or the things that they've done in their lives. And now they get with someone or around someone that's naturally a giver, right? Or someone who fixes the situation. And now They feel like they got it made. They can always go to that person. Have you ever been out to eat with someone and there's always one or two people when it's time to pay the bill, they look at their phone, they go to the bathroom, or they're doing something else? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's not okay. And then when they come back, guess what they do? Oh, the bill is paid. Oh, okay. They're waiting for somebody to cover them. And they continue on this journey to assume that someone's going to handle this stuff for them, right? They're taking. They're taking from someone else's hard-earned money, and they're taking from someone's generosity. Now, so some people who can catch on to that, they stop it before it gets too far. Some people aren't able to do that because in their mind, that taker has manipulated that giver to thinking that they are better than where they are based on what they're getting from them. Because I want you to feel like you have a place with me, even though you really don't. I'm just using you to get what I want. That's what genuinely a taker is, a master manipulator. They don't really care about you or your well-being. If anything were to happen to a giver from a taker, you know what will happen? They will go and find somebody else to give them something to get their needs met. That's it. Okay. And they probably have 3 or 4 people to do that. And you're left holding the basket with no eggs, no milk, no bread, no nothing. You're just there. And then what happens? Givers, if you are naturally a giver, you have a good spirit, you have a good heart, know and understand your worth, please. And the reason why it's important for you to know and understand your worth is because you matter. You matter. Sometimes those takers, they don't understand that. And when you draw back and you pull away from them, it's your fault, right? You're the issue. Well, I only do this because you made me feel this way. No, we're not doing that. It's 2025. We cannot allow people to come to us that are givers and do that. And we also can allow the takers, for all the takers that's out there, because I want the people out there to really understand and know you have these folks around you. Sometimes you may already know that this person is a taker or this person is a giver, and sometimes it doesn't work out for you, right? Look within your family, look within your home, look within your workplace. They exist everywhere. Okay. In order to have something that's going to be good, positive, and the nines, right? We have to have a healthy balance. A healthy balance of anything is great, is a great level of succession, right? If I can't have too much of something, what's going to happen is it's going to overload, it's going to break down, it's going to fail. But if I have a good balance, a good solid balance, and when I say balance, I don't mean something that's going to be 50-50, because everything doesn't pour in or take out 50-50, right? Have you been in a situation where someone says, "Oh, we're going to share this account with you. I'm going to share this thing with you. And because we went half in on this meal, I'm going to go ahead and take this percentage, and you're going to take that percentage based on how much you put into it?" No, because it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, both of us put into this meal. It doesn't matter how much we put in. Let's just split this thing down the middle, and then we go from there. You know why? Because I may have it this time, and you may not. You may have it this time, and I may not. But we have to work together and know that this is where we're going. Okay. So those partnerships and those relationships are very important. Those folks who are married out there, they will tell you, and who have been married, no marriage is ever truly equal. Ever. Right? There's a passage that will say, when two people that are equally yoked, they come together, let no man put asunder. I'm going to tell you right now, no two people are ever equally yoked. Equally yoked means they have the same mindset. That doesn't mean they come in and have the same thing, right? Because I can have this type of job making this type of money, and she can have this type of job making this type of money. And then we pour in and we put in the stuff. And then when it's time to leave, what happens? What happens after that? I want my money back, right? Tyler Perry got a movie about that. It was on TV yesterday, right? Why did I get married? Janet Jackson, the character she played, she was married to the guy. She didn't have the money starting out. She was just starting out. He was already established. Okay. He put in the money for the house. When they broke up, it was her house. He had to leave. The thing is this: was he right for leaving, or should he requested her to leave? It doesn't matter, because you know what's going to decide that? The courts. And you know, when the courts decide that, they're going to decide based on financial ability, financial stability, and who can benefit from having these assets, or they'll just tell you to just sell everything and split it down the middle, no matter how much you put it in. Now, some folks that put a lot in, they're going to get really upset, because actually, this is happening to one of my friends right now. They are not going to get back out what they wanted. They just want to be done with that problem, that headache. Okay. If you built into something and you pour it into a relationship, and you know you're giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, that person is taking so much, and you don't know or understand why this person is doing what they're doing. And sometimes you sit there by yourself and you wonder, does this person take me serious, or am I a fool to this person? And then sometimes they just want what they want, how they want it. And it won't be easy for them when you back away, because what they don't understand is they don't understand your mindset. See, some people get to that transitional or transformational place when they're getting to something, and then it allows them to be better than what they are. So that's ultimately our goal, to be a better version of ourselves, so that later on we can live better lives. That's the basis and a goal of everything. But if I do not have a healthy mindset about how to give and how to take, because everybody's going to play on that, right? Everybody's going to have an opportunity to do that, because I'm going to take something from someone, but in my mind, I might think I may have to give the same amount or more. And some people can take willfully everything, but give a small amount, and they want you to be satisfied and happy with that, because I didn't have to give you nothing, but this is what I gave you. And then, so the other person's mindset is, this is what you think about me, to give me this, to allow this to happen to me. That's a separation within that relationship or a marriage that's going to become very toxic. We need to learn to avoid these toxic people and these toxic relationships. Everyone naturally, because we are human, we have a giving and a taking trait. Everybody does. The thing is, how do we use that? How do we utilize those things? Are they going to be the best things down the road for us? If you are a person that gives so much to your job and you're there for them all the time, and I know this is going to hit some people right in the stomach, no job is ever going to be loyal to its employees. So if you're giving and giving and giving and giving, they will take until they can't take anymore. They will make you feel and believe that you are better than anything else. But you have to know and understand that if anything were to happen to me, or if I were to walk out this door, you will have somebody to replace me, to either do the same job or maybe a little bit differently. So we have to look at it with clear eyes. We have to look at these things with a clear notion. We also have to look at these things with a better mindset, that this is where we need to be and where we're going. And sometimes we get wrapped up with our work lives that we have to do this. Now we have this thing where people say, I need a work-life balance. That's great. That's great. You got that mindset. You need to have the mindset. I need to be able to walk away from work and have a few minutes to myself. Okay. You can have this thing where I need a 10-minute walk around. I need to get somewhere where I can clear myself, because sometimes it gets too heavy. Life gets really heavy for a lot of people, and some people do not know how to get away from some of the traps and the pitfalls of it. So, especially when it comes to work, that's a type of ship, as I said before, that people don't know how to navigate. Sometimes when you're at work, and work may give you a title. They may throw money at you. They may make you feel and say and praise you and all that sort of stuff. But there's something I was told a long time ago when I was a kid. Be careful of those who praise you with their tongue, because they can stab you in the back with a knife just as easy. I can talk about you as much as I want. I can say that you're the best. I can say that you do all these things. But then I can turn around with someone else. I have a different type of relationship based on how I see that person, and I could vilify you right in front of them. And you wouldn't even know that. And that's changing their mindset of you. And sometimes people play on that because they want you to do what they ask you to do. I just heard the situation the other day. Some people will want in their position for you to fall in line and do what they ask, right? Some people will assume that you have to do what you are required to do based on a description that can be changed at any time. That doesn't necessarily mean that those folks can and will dictate certain things because they're trying to use a manipulative tactic by taking your time, saying that you need to invest a certain amount of time to give to them to make sure certain things are done. Okay. I read this thing before and it said a boss has a title, a leader has the people. When it comes to giving and taking in that aspect, a leader will always have the people. Why? The people have a solemn belief in that person, right? How many bosses have you had that just want you to give, and give nothing to you? You can throw around praise words like you're the greatest, we wouldn't do this without you. But at the end of the day, your actions gonna speak louder than words any day, every day, all the time. I don't want to hear those words, right? Most people don't want to hear those words. Show me. Show me I matter and I mean something where I am right now because the money value can go up or down. I want to see it from the people that I'm working with. And a job will give and take so much from you. It'll take so much from you that you're giving and giving and giving. And when you get home or when you're done, what do you have left to give to the people you're walking into the door with? Do you have time to give to your children? You have time to give to your significant other? You have time to give to your pets? Do you have time to give to yourself? How many people out there got to sit in their car for about 10 or 15 minutes before they walk in the house because they know what they're walking into because the job has taken so much from them? I've been there. How many times did you just sit there and you just get in your thoughts because I need to decompress before I go home? Before I go home, I need to decompress before I walk in that door because I know this job is taking so much from your day, and I don't know if I can make it up them steps or through that door without being attacked with a whole bunch of other issues I got to deal with. When we're climbing that ladder and we want those things in our career, we have to keep that perspective that every job is to take. They're going to give you a salary based on the qualifications, but they're going to take more than they ever would give you. And some people don't get that. That's the hardest lesson to learn. And as soon as people learn that lesson, they change their approach. It doesn't mean that they're going to back up and they're not going to be a great employee. That just means I know my worth. I know my value. I know what I will do and what I won't do because the job's going to do what they do. Now you have to learn to do what you do when it comes to your work, when it comes to personal, when it comes to anything else. Because a true taker, won't care. They have no limitations, right? Because they're only going to like you, deal with you, love you to their capacity or their ability, or sometimes their limitations. Sometimes people do that based on how they give. I can't open the door and say that I'm going to give you. And every time you turn around, you give. Eventually, I'm going to be like, well, you just going to keep giving because I decide I'm not going to do this no more. And then you turn around and get mad at me because I just said I don't want to give anymore. Some of us are in that situation right now, right? Because I keep giving you and I'm not getting nothing in return. I have no time, no effort, no energy, no nothing from you. What does that do to that person that's giving? That puts that person in a different mindset. That put that different in a different mental space. That's very important for some people to catch and understand. Know your value, understand your worth, and know when and when not to give. The takers need to learn that I don't need to take from everybody, that I need to start doing for myself, and that I don't need to just to rely on other people to get the things that I need to get done to sustain me. Because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for myself. And if I can't be responsible for myself, that's going to be a problem. Okay. I'm going to leave you with this last note. Okay. On this subject of give and take. All right. Now, in a give and take situation, both parties are expected to contribute equally to reach an agreement, right? But to give is a one-sided action, right? When you give something, you're only providing it to someone else without necessarily expecting anything in return. But a taker will take no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what it appears, because that's ultimately who they are. Okay. That's going to be our show for today. Thank you for watching the live stream. If you watch it live, I appreciate you. If you're not watching it live and you're watching the recorded version, I appreciate you as well. One thing I would like everyone to do is to like, share, subscribe, but even comment whether you like the content, if you did like the content, whatever. All comments are welcomed. Okay. I got thick skin. There's nothing that anybody gonna say that's gonna bother me. Okay. But put the comments out there. Like, share, subscribe. We're gonna get this thing pushing, get it moving. Join me next week when we're gonna discuss the subject and a topic of mental health. Okay. This is AP for the Black Male Podcast. That's our show for today. And as always, be good to yourself and be good to others. Peace.